Hello and welcome back everyone. We are on chapter 15, International Projects. We're getting very close to the end of our roadmap here. We have chapter 16, 17, and 18 that remain. So this chapter is on international projects. The types of projects can be domestic, meaning in your home country, overseas, foreign, or global. Some issues in managing international projects are shown below. Environmental factors, global expansion considerations, challenges of working in foreign cultures, and selection and training of overseas managers. Some of the positives of international assignments, if you have an opportunity, are increased income, increased responsibilities, different career opportunities overseas, and when you come back to your home country or your company's home office, foreign travel, new lifetime friends. Some of the negatives that they list are absence from home and friends and family, personal security risks, possibly missed opportunities in your career by leaving, and difficulties with language, culture, and laws. Some of the environmental factors affecting international projects can be economic, geographical, cultural, dealing with infrastructure, security, and legal and political issues. Some of the legal political issues could be political stability or instability, national laws, national and local laws and regulations that apply to where you're working, government, state, and local bureaucracies, interference or support, and also security. Lots of issues with terrorism, national and local security, crime, and risk management. So the geographical issues could be climate and seasonal differences, living in a place where you're not accustomed to the weather, some natural obstacles. There could be economic factors with the country itself, protectionist strategies, balances of payments, local labor force issues. Dealing with infrastructure, telecommunication, transportation system, power grids, unique technologies, educational systems. So when someone is having an expatriate job experience, one has to adapt to either higher or lower technology in that locale where you're in. Culture is also a factor. Customs and social standards, values, language, and multicultural environments. So this slide defines culture as a shared system or a system of shared norms, beliefs, values, and customs that bind people together, creating shared meaning and a unique identity. Cultural differences can be across geographic regions, ethnic or religious groups, can deal with languages, and also economic issues. An ethnocentric perspective is the tendency to believe that one's cultural values and ways of doing things are superior to all others. So examples are wanting to conduct business only on your terms and stereotyping other countries, also in conducting business only in your language or using your style of business, ignoring the people factors and other cultures by putting work ahead of building relationships. Some adjustments that are required are dealing with relativity of time and punctuality, cultural related ethical differences, personal and professional relationships, and attitudes towards work and life. So this slide just shows different places where one could work in different countries around the world, and the differences that you might deal with working in Mexico versus in France or China or Saudi Arabia. Or the United States. So coming from Saudi Arabia working in Mexico, or coming from China working in the United States, different differences depending on where you're coming from and the place where you're going. When working in different cultures, often one has to rely on local intermediaries such as translators, relying on local social connections, using expediters, and and also relying on cultural advisors and guides. Culture shock is the natural psychological disorientation that people suffer when they move into a different culture. It is a breakdown in a person's selective perception and effective interpretation system induced by foreign stimuli and the inability to function effectively in a strange land. So at some point, all of us will experience culture shock if we travel and work overseas or in another country. This is the cultural shock life cycle. It shows the amount of time that one spends in a foreign culture and the mood that person has over time. And it ranges from a honeymoon period, a low mood of irritability and hostility as one tries to adapt, gradual adjustment, and adaptation. It sort of follows the team development in a way. So coping with culture shock, some examples of what happens. People create stability zones that closely mimic or create a home environment. They modify their expectations and behavior. They can focus on the most important tasks and relish small accomplishments, using project work as a bridge until adjusted to the new environment, and engage in different activities to make themselves feel more at home or more comfortable. Some of the selection and training for international projects. Some selection factors: work experience with cultures other than one's own, previous travel, good physical and emotional health, knowledge of a host nation's language, immigration background or heritage, and ability to adapt and function in the new culture. So having these factors in your personality and your background are helpful if you intend to travel and work outside of your home country. So some ideas to train, to increase your understanding of a foreign culture, to study the religion, dress codes, education system, holidays, eating style and different foods, family life, business protocols, social etiquette, and equal opportunity in that culture. So learning approaches to cultural fluency. The information approach, the learning of information or skills from a lecture type orientation, or learning of information or skills that raise the effective responses on the part of the trainee and result in cultural insights. And the behavioral experiential approach, a variant of the affective approach that provides the trainee with realistic simulations or scenarios. So with the behavioral and experiential approach in mind, we are going to engage in activity, which is a business and culture simulation that will take some of you out of your home environment, your current culture, and put you in a different culture to engage in negotiations. Thank you for your attention.